Hello, let's talk about Chapter 3 homework. In question 1, you will select 2 accounts for each of the 5 transactions that are listed here for Bobby Collins, who decided to start a dental practice. Let's look at the first transaction. Collins invested $82,000 cash in the business. That means that the business received cash. Cash is an asset and assets increase with debits. Now that we know the debit of the transaction, let's figure out the credit. The business now owes money to the owner, something that we call capital, which is part of owner's equity. So, there you have it, debit to cash and credit to Bobby Collins, capital. What about the next transaction? The business paid $22,000 in cash for equipment. Cash is an asset, and since the business paid cash, the cash decreased, assets decrease with credits. Therefore, we need to credit cash when money is paid out. Now that we know the credit, can you think of what account we need to debit? What did the business buy? For the second and third part of question 1, we need to enter the transactions into the T accounts. So, let's look again at the first transaction. For that first transaction, we debited cash and we credited the capital. So, let's debit the cash account by writing the transaction number 1 into the first column and then the amount in the second column. Next, we will move on to the capital account and write the credit transaction into that account by writing the amount of $82,000 into the third column and the transaction number into the last column. For question number 2, we have several transactions that have been entered into T accounts. Our task is to prepare the trial balance and the income statement. To do that, let's look at the cash account. We'll add up all of the debits, and we will add up all of the credits and then calculate the balance. When I add up all of the debits, I come up with $223,000, and when I add up all of the credits, I come up with $62,700. That means that the balance of the cash account is $160,300, the difference between the debit activity and the credit activity. Let's add that on the next slide into our trial balance. We can now enter the account name cash and the amount of $160,300 as the first item in our trial balance. What's the next step? That's right, we need to look at the next T account and find the balance. The next account is accounts receivable in our list of T accounts, and it has only 2 transactions. So, subtract the credit amount from the debit amount and write the name accounts receivable on the next line and the balance amount from the T account. Typically, each account has a number, and normally you would list the accounts in the numerical order of each account. However, we'll simply go with the order that the T accounts appear in. Be sure that you enter the balances into the correct debit or credit column. How can you be sure? The trial balance totals must balance. Once you completed the trial balance, you are ready to move on to the income statement. Not all accounts from the trial balance belong onto the income statement though. The income statement calculates the net income or profit, and we calculate that by entering first the revenue and then the expenses. Remember, you can use the Check My Work feature on each question and then click on Return to Question to go back. Question 3 is similar to question 2 in that we have a list of T accounts with activity for which we need to calculate the balances. Our task is to decide whether they belong into the statement of owner's equity or the balance sheet. The first step is to complete the statement of owner's equity. Why? Because we will need the ending capital balance for the balance sheet. What is the first line we need to enter on the statement of owner's equity? Right. It's the beginning capital. The beginning capital is $172,000. Let's enter that now. What do you need to do next? Exactly, we need to enter the net income. Then, we'll enter what? Right, the drawings. Now, we are ready to calculate the ending capital balance. For the balance sheet, find all of the T accounts that are balance sheet accounts and enter them into the correct sections. Don't forget to enter the ending capital balance into the owner's equity section. For question number 4, we need to enter each transaction into T accounts. Let's do the first transaction together. Alexis Wesson invested $54,000 into the business. The business received cash. So, what do we need to do? Do we debit or credit cash? That's right. We need to debit cash. And what's the credit? Yes. It is capital. Let's complete the entry on the next page. Here we go. Let's first put the account name cash on the first account. And enter the amount of $54,000. Next, let's enter the name for the capital account and the credit of $54,000. Give the next transaction a try. For the second transaction, the business purchased office furniture for $15,400. We purchased an asset and assets increase with debits. And the business paid with cash. Cash is also an asset and asset decrease with credits. Enter it now. For this last part, you need to enter a yes or a no to the question whether the transaction directly affected an asset account. Let's talk about the first transaction where Wesson invested $54,000 into the business. The business received money and we debited cash. Cash is an asset. So, we need to enter a yes for transaction number 1 because the transaction directly impacted an asset account. That's it for today. Hope this short video was helpful. Don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions or concerns.